All right, good evening, everyone. Give everybody a minute to come in here. Looks like nobody's in yet. Share this out on my phone while we're waiting. I guess I need to go to comments. What's going on, guys? I see you all coming in. Trying to figure out why now Facebook is keeping me from sharing this. Apparently, I've shared too much stuff today. There we go. Hey, guys. All right, let's get this show going. We got a special guest tonight, somebody that I met, I guess, about 2 years ago, I think it's going on. And it was back when I first became a moderator of Comic Book Nation. And I had talked to Chris about starting a new group off to the side called Art Exposure. And the idea of Art Exposure was to bring in artists that were either up and coming artists, new artists, somebody that people hadn't heard of before, and trying to get their work out there. There's a lot of phenomenal artists that are in the indie community that, may not go to cons or get offers to go to cons. And so they never really get a chance to get their name out there besides social media. And this was an outlet for them to go to that had a deep following that we could just put you up there and say, hey, you want to show your art off, you want to draw live, you want to show off what you have to offer, hit me up and we'll try to set up a show. And tonight I have Finn Edwards, which was the very first show that I had on Art Exposure, which was kind of special because, so now here we are 2 years later, and they've done quite a bit of work since then and have started creating their own web comic, which we will talk a little bit about today. And we'll show off this awesome piece later on when we talk about the piece that they did for Xeno Nanite Titan. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Finn Edwards.
Hi, everybody.
What's going on, Chris? Hi, Finn. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, not too bad. I'm trying to wait for all these people to roll in because I know sooner or later those numbers are going to start jumping up and then we're going to get all the comments.
Hey. Well, I'm here to party.
Yeah. Oh, there's going to be a party. I've already been warned earlier that they were in quite the mood today to start trouble. So we'll see where the comments go.
Well, I'm excited. Hi, Chris.
So if you'd like to, start off telling us a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Finn. I am a agender artist. I've been drawing for a pretty long time, probably since like kindergarten age, but I haven't really done any actual professional artist stuff until about a year or two ago, right around when I met you actually. I had just started really putting my work out there because I used to be terribly shy about my art. My parents wouldn't even see anything that I drew. The most they got was the little stickers or the magnets that parents would get or whatever you put on your fridge. That's it.
So pretty much the stuff bring home from school, or that school would allow you to buy printouts of from the magnets or the mouse pads and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, you
Yeah.
can have this, but the rest of it, it's
Eh.
mine.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I went through a period of just like not really like drawing anymore. I kind of fell off the art wagon until about last year or 2 years ago, something like that, where like I felt like drawing and it just I took off. So
Yeah, and I have when we first got to talking, I have a couple of pieces that I had done by you on the very first show that you did on Art Exposure, which would be
uh,
this piece here.
that was fun. That was a lot of fun to do.
Yeah, and I love Full Metal Alchemist, and so that was something I didn't know about you until you had went live for the first time on Art Exposure as my first guest. We got on there and we started talking, and you had started talking about anime, and I was like, oh, I know all about this. So we started hitting it up on that, and I was like, what do you think about Full Metal Alchemist? And you're like, oh, I love that, and Winry, which
Uh, oh, Winry, I love her.
And so I was like, who better to do a commission of Winry and a steampunk? And I thought this was a really fun take on it, since she's into the whole, you know, tinkering and stuff like that. I was like, that'd be great to do a cool steampunk on that. So he's definitely turned out awesome. I love this now. I mean, it's one of the best shows out there with like brotherly bond, and the story is just phenomenal. And I was even quite surprised. I never really got the gumption to watch Brotherhood. It took me a long time to finally say, okay, I'm going to sit down and watch Brotherhood. And it's really weird to watch because, when they did Full Metal Alchemist, a lot of people don't know that the manga actually wasn't finished yet. So they finished the series without knowing what the rest of the story was going to be. And they did an awesome job with it. And so then when they did Brotherhood, they actually followed the manga. And so it's like you watch it, and like the first few episodes are kind of the same, and then it just goes off on a wild tangent, and it's like a totally different feel to it. And so I ended up watching it and I liked it. So I mean, definitely a great series to get into. And that's kind of moreover, your style of things. And that was well, maybe I should take it out of the top loader, get rid of some of the glare there. And that was some of the inspiration for this piece. We've got a little bit of the anime style to it. This piece turned out phenomenal, and the color is awesome. I love all the little burn marks on the floor, and the detail is just phenomenal.
I had a lot of fun with the sword. It was kind of hard because like I couldn't figure out like the perspective of it, but like honestly, I think like the sword and like using all the bright oranges are kind of my favorite, which I don't use orange very often. But like I don't know, you brought out like all the explosions and pieces that I've done.
Well, you definitely got your fair share of use of orange on this.
Oh yeah.
So what got you into, you said you started doing art at a young age. So what got you really into doing art? What was your big motivation to get into it?
When I was little, I was really inspired by like anime TV shows like Sailor Moon, um, Tokyo Mew Mew, I think was another one, Pokemon. Like, I really liked the style of it, and I was like, I want to do that. And I think I grabbed like screenshots or something from a computer, or like I grabbed like old like manga that I had found and like just tried like tracing over it. And like I really wanted to make like a series or something like that. Actually, when I was little, I used to fill up like spiral notebooks of like comics that were basically ripoffs of Sailor Moon because I had no original ideas. But I managed to fill up like 3 whole like 70-page like spiral notebooks. So
Wow.
yeah.
70?
Yeah, no, they were like I didn't rip out very many pages. So I mean like I'm thinking like those are like 70-page things. I mean like It was
Oh,
little
yeah.
just like square, like kind of like stick people ish. It wasn't good, but like, yeah, no, I was dedicated for a while there. And like, I had always wanted to make a series like that, but like, I'd heard for a long time, like, you're going to go down the starving artist route if you go that way. I went into writing because I thought that would be better, but now I'm back into like the art scene again, and I've really come to familiarize myself with the new way of like doing online comics, like the webtoons,
Yeah.
single scroll like kind of style. So I find it funny that I'm back here again.
Hey, Eve, how are you tonight? Hi, Lewis.
Hi.
Hi, Josh. Hi, Alfred. How are you guys tonight? So, sorry, I was trying to hide everybody. Now everybody's pouring in. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of like my whole thing too. I started writing 10 years ago, this book, and it's hard. It sounds really weird to say, but it's been 18, 19 years ago. Back when I was in high school, I started. We get these activities where they would give us a picture and they'd say, okay, color this picture, and then write a story on it. And I thought it was really cool. And I'm really creative with stuff. Like, don't get me on a roll, because that's what Steph usually does when he gets in here, is he gets me on a roll. And then once you get me on the train, I don't stop. And so, back when I was in school, it was really cool. We did these pieces where we would color it and then we'd write a story. And those were my favorite things to do.
Give me just 1 second.
You're fine. Hey, Lewis, how are you doing tonight? Hey, Alfred. Next Tuesday. I'm still trying to find Hulk hands too for lemonade. I'm gonna try to get those to you before Tuesdays. We got to show that off. Hulk smash, freshly squeezed lemonade. How are you doing, Eve? How's that zine machine coming along? I seen you were. You back?
Yes. Hi. Sorry about that.
Oh, you're totally fine. It's totally understandable. Sunday I had to get off early because while I was live, we had a huge lightning thunderstorm going on out there, and it was like so loud they heard it on the video, and they're like, "Wow, it really is storming there." And then my 3 and my 5-year-old woke up and we're screaming bloody murder. And I'm like, "All right, guys, I'm sorry to tie a knot in it, but I have got to go because they're screaming, Daddy." So it's totally understandable. Stuff happens. Awesome. You're touching up the creature colors. Cool. Sorry, we went off on a whole nother conversation. So
you're all good.
That was kind of what got me into the creative writing aspect. I've always been creative with coming up with stuff, but when we would sit down and we would color those pictures, and they were like, okay, here's a woman with a lion. Let's color this picture and then write a 5-page story on it. And so I started doing that, and I was like, this is a lot of fun, creating my own world, my own characters and stuff. And then, the teacher really liked the work that I did. And, after that year in high school, they were like, this could be something you could pursue down the road. And, by the time I graduated high school, I loved blowing stuff up. So I was like, I'm going to go into mining engineering, explosives emphasis, because I like to blow stuff up, hence Russ Explode Studios. And so I was like, yeah, writers, just like you with the starving artist, the writers, they get out there and they put themselves out there, and a lot of them fail. And I wanted to start a family and actually, be able to support a family. And I was really worried about if I did the writing aspect and it failed, that I'd be too old to try to get into something else. So I got into, going to school for mining engineering with explosives emphasis, and I started doing blasting. I was like, man, I love doing this. And then, after a few years in 2008, I bought my first house and the economy crashed. And so my job was like, okay, we're going to work, instead of 60 hours a week, we're going to work 5 hours a week. So I just bought a house and I got an $800 a month house payment, and I'm making maybe $300 a week. And that's before insurance and everything. So with that job, I, had gotten a CDL for hauling heavy equipment. And so I was like, I'll just get a driving job. They're a dime a dozen. You can get on anywhere and get what you want. And that's why I started driving. And then here, right after I started driving, I guess it was about 2010 was when I was like, I really want to pursue this whole writing thing, uh, with having a driving job. And, then I was going over the road once a week. I would stay overnight and then come back the next day. That's what got me into writing again. I got this Chromebook and I would go over the road and I would start writing the story. And so I went on for a couple of years and I got pretty far into doing like a rough draft on it. And then, my son was born. He had to have open heart surgery. And then, like, ever since then, all this crazy stuff happened. I was like, nope, it's never happened. So it's kind of exciting now to be back into it. And it's just like it's like it's weird how we wanted to originally do this. And we're like, that'll never be worthwhile. We'll never be able to do it. But it's like, all along that's where we were meant to end up, and it feels great to sit here and write my story, and it's like, this is really what I want to do. I don't have that feeling in my gut every morning when I wake up that I hate my life and something's missing. And I don't mean it in like a really horrible way, but it's like, you feel like something's not right, and it's like now everything's kind of right with the world because you're doing what you want to do, and it's really cool. So
yeah, no, you definitely get that creative outlet out. And like, I feel like every artistic person, not just like drawing artistic, but like creative person, everybody has their own story to tell. So I feel like if you try and hold back and not let yourself express yourself in that way, I feel like eventually either like you'll burn yourself out or it'll come back to you like it has for us. So
yeah, and you get kind of like a resentment that builds up because you resent yourself for not putting it out there, because in your mind it's awesome and you think other people would like it, but you hold it back. And so, and I'm pretty excited. I actually have a full book that actually is written that I wrote back in 2012. That was a side project that I did, and it was called Taking Steps in the Walk of Life. And so this may be something that everybody will see after I get done with Xeno Nanite Titan. Whenever I finished writing that book, I was like, nah, nobody wants to see or hear about this. And it's like, maybe I'll just put it out there. I mean, whatever. So would you like to talk a little bit about Project Begonia?
Sure. Oh boy, where do I start? Basically, I've had this project in my head for about, I want to say like 4 or 5 years or so. I told myself that I really just wanted to tell a story. I really wanted, it's always been like my goal in life to be able to make a story that other people care about. And I figured it was time that I actually try and put myself out there. I didn't really start going too hard with it until about last year or so. But basically, the premise of the story is there is a girl named Ray, and she wakes up in this world that she has no idea where she is. Like, the trees are blue and they're sweating. The sky is pink. What is going on? And she believes to be in some kind of ultra reality video game, which is kind of like augmented reality, except even more. Like, you can taste, you can touch, and like it recreates sensations. It's a really in-depth version of AR. And so she finds herself on this adventure throughout this world and slowly discovers this is real. This is not a game. I could actually die here. And so she's going to be going around meeting her like party member friends, eventually saving the world in X, Y, and Z fashion. So I'm really excited. And of course, she's also going to have her character arc of like building self-confidence, because I have seen a lot, not just within myself, but with all other people. Like, I have met people that have extraordinary talents and that have like extraordinary minds, and they are so not confident in themselves. Like, they don't feel themselves at all. And they hold themselves back so much. And I'm like, what are you doing? You could do so much more if you just like gave yourself a little bit of love. So I really want to make a story that shows that it's possible to give yourself a little bit of love and be successful and not be made fun of by that like self vulnerability, I guess. That like you can do it. It's gonna be okay. Like it's so much better if you just be who you are. So
Yeah, when we first started talking in 2018, it was like towards the end of 2018 when we first started talking. Whenever you did your first live on Art Exposure, and one of the things we had talked about was you had wanted to do this webtoon, this web comic, and you're like, I'm thinking about it. I might eventually do it. I don't know. And then after the Art Exposure, you started doing Twitch streams and doing drawing on there, and it was kind of fun getting on there and watching. You go from I think I want to try to draw live, and then then you're on Twitch, and it's like now it's completely natural, and it's like you're telling everybody about your stuff, and it's really awesome to see that start out as a little seed that was planted out there to say, hey, put yourself out there, and it's like the next thing you've got 20,000 viewers on TikTok watching you do quick drawings and stuff like that.
Yeah, which that like low key freaks me out. I didn't expect all that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if y'all are on TikTok, but I think I'm up to like 40 something thousand people that follow me now.
Yeah, you started out and you're like, you just posted one quick draw, and I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. I've never gotten into TikTok, but I've watched the ones that you've posted, and then it's like 8 hours later, I get on there and it's up to like 1,400 people have liked it. And I'm like, whoa, and then like the next week, you're like, I don't know what's going on, everybody, but I'm almost to 10,000 people on TikTok. And then like now you're at 40,000.
Yes.
And so, and that's what's really cool. And it's like, that's what, Art Exposure I was brought forth to be, was to say, hey, all you got to do is put yourself out there. And not everybody will catch something when they throw their lure out in the pond, but it's going to create ripples that, like Phil always says, and those ripples are going to reach out, and somewhere along the line, somebody's going to catch it. And, you definitely found an audience when you went to TikTok and did those quick drawings, because it exploded overnight. And you're just like, I don't know what to do with this.
Oh, it's a lot. Like I have people like if I don't post within a certain time, people legitimately ask me like, "Hey, are you okay?" Or like, "Hey, you're my idol," and I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm just like this kid from Florida. Oh, it's a lot, but I mean, like, yeah, no, I feel like things like this happen in the most unexpected places too. Just because, like, I feel like the target audience for TikTok is like younger, like high school 12-year-olds. A lot of my fans, that's so weird saying, they're like between like 10 and 13. I'm like, why are you all even on the internet anyway? But okay. It's wild. So I mean, like, I've really definitely learned like you don't have to be afraid to put yourself out there, because eventually somebody will bite. So
yeah. And don't say you're just a small person from Florida. You might get Eve on you, because she's from Florida too. Eve is actually currently doing a painterly piece for Xeno Nanite Titan. So it's pretty exciting. She actually just did her first cover for Lewis, who's in the audience. Luis Torres has Lily the Demoness #4 on Kickstarter right now. And Eve actually did her very first cover for his comic book that's on Kickstarter. So it was pretty exciting Tampa, baby.
Tampa, hey, Brandon. I'm like right there.
Yeah. And so, it's really exciting to see all these indie creators breaking into the scene and getting their stuff out there, and her cover is phenomenal for Lily the Demoness. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's definitely a must have. But, so it's really great to be able to involve you guys in this project. That was kind of my goal with Xeno Nanite Titan was I've met a lot of artists throughout the years, and I've always, pushed them to get out there, like Ed. Ed's not here tonight. She says you're about 30 minutes away, lol.
Oh. Yeah.
So, I don't know where Ed is tonight, but I've been pushing Ed really hard, to get his work out there. Because, when we did the live stream, I guess it's been probably a little over a month ago. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah.
And everybody's seen his Harry Potter art and the other stuff that he had done. And they're like, wow, this is awesome. And it's like, it was after the show. I was like, see, you got to put it out there. People really like, your art, but nobody's ever going to see it if you don't put it out there. And so through trying to help these people, now it's kind of cool to come back and say, hey, we haven't spoken really, a lot other than, hey, how are you doing? What's up? Or, dropping in on one of your shows. But I was like, out of nowhere, I just messaged you and I'm like, hey, you want to do a piece for my book? And you're like, yeah, sure. And so that was kind of the goal, to use several of the artists that I've tried to pull into the scene and get their name out there, and as another venue to, get you guys out there, like, Wendy Steenshainer and CB Zane and, David Harrigan. Some of them are the artists that I used are already in the scene and they're well known out there. And I'm just, a big fan of their work. So I'm like, I want to include some of that, but I definitely set aside, half of the art for, people like you and Ed and, a couple other people. And I said, hey, let's do a piece for this. Let's collaborate. And for those of you, I just kicked my desk. That hurt. So for those of you that didn't see it earlier, let me throw it back up there. This is a piece. Give me a second while I recover from stubbing my toe. So this is the piece here, which turned out phenomenal. So your piece plays a very integral part of the story. So if you notice up in the cockpit, there is a dark figure up here that we don't know who it is. And so there was a lot of stuff going on, the part of the mystery of the piece. It's funny, I'm using my mouse and nobody can see it. So a lot of the, the cool stuff about the piece is, you see the laser fire. Is the laser fire shooting at these guys in the background, or is it shooting at the main character? And so you have no idea who this is or what's going on here. You just know it's chaos. And I love how the piece turned out. I love the use of orange in it. I love the colors, the way you did the armor in the piece, the anime style to it. It just turned out phenomenal, and I couldn't be happier with it. And so it's been really cool taking, my words and trying to explain to you a picture and then watching you put that picture on paper. That's a lot of fun too. It's like, having the ability to tell you what I want, and then you'd be able to create exactly what I was meaning. And so your piece actually takes place before the piece that I should hopefully be unveiling pretty soon that is finished. Yours is the second to last piece, and then CB Zane's is the final piece at the very, very end of the book once the story ends. The story doesn't end. It just leaves off on a big cliffhanger, which you're about to read, ends in a huge cliffhanger.
Ooh, I'm excited.
So said you only started reading it, so I can tell you that it will end when you least expect it and when you don't want it to. And that's kind of where book one is headed. And so, I couldn't be happier. Definitely pay attention to the piece. Finn put a lot of work into putting every little detail that I wanted in there to, you really wouldn't notice it at first, but after you read the story and you go back and you look at the picture and it's like, okay, now this makes sense and this makes sense and this makes sense. And I think it's a lot of fun. It's like little Easter eggs that are hidden in the pictures that you won't find till later on after you read it. And it doesn't give too much of the story away either. So if you're like me and you flip and look at all the art, you get this book in front of you and it's awesome. You want to start reading it, but you're like, no, I'm going to look through the art. Oh, this is cool. This is cool. This is cool. This is cool. And if you put too much, then it ruins the story. You're like, oh, man. Well, now I know what happens. So let's show off Project Begonia. for the people that are here, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Go ahead. I don't have too much so far. I think I'm in like chapter 3, but I'd love to show at least the first chapter just to give you all a little taste of what I've got.
Well, you're further than when you were the other day when I started reading it.
Uh, you've seen my
Because
update.
I scrolled all the way down to the bottom. I was like, oh, there's a new panel.
Oh, okay. Am I reading this or are we?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to read it, you can read it out, and
Sure.
you can try to do voices. I mean, how that'd be a lot of fun.
Well, see, what's funny is that I have a friend of mine that she's a voice actor, um, and I got her to record the lines that are in this first section, everything that's in purple. So I'm going to put together a trailer. Like I've made music for it and everything. I just need to like draw it out. So you might see some voice acting in the future, but not for me. I don't think I'm a voice actor, but anyway.
Well, anyway, Eve is asking if you went to USF.
I did go to USF.
She said
Eh,
she said I was there. Let's meet. I need some more friends anyway. LOL.
hey.
Sorry, I can't. The only thing that's on my screen right now is your thing. Otherwise, I'd pop her comment up there. But you remember what happened last time I clicked on here? Oh, here we go. Last time I clicked on here, I freaking exited out while we were there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go.
Well, yeah, no, I think that'd be fun. I need more friends. I mean, there's also like quarantine going on, but
Yeah, well, I mean, you guys could chat
social
online.
distancing, chatting. Yeah, I'm down. I'm always down
Yeah,
for new friends.
and she goes live usually on Sundays. Um,
Okay.
Sunday like afternoons, and she draws for a little bit on there. So I mean, definitely hit her up. I can send you a link to her page whenever later on today. You can add
Yeah.
her or whatever and check out her art. She just got done doing a sweet ass uh Acura piece.
Ooh,
And
very
it was
nice.
phenomenal. I wish I had it uploaded on here because I'd show you because it's awesome. I can definitely send you a picture of it. It looks
Yeah,
really
yeah.
so sorry we got off on a tangent here. Let's get back to it doesn't take much to derail me.
Yeah. Sad and I'm nervous about reading this out loud, but here we go. All
Yeah, let me
right.
figure out how to switch back to the screen share on here.
Oh, that'd be a
There
good
we
idea.
go.
All right.
Keeps disappearing on me. All right, go ahead. The floor is yours. Let me mute my mic. Hold on. Stand by.
All right. Hello? Can you hear me? This message has to be getting out somewhere. I can feel it. Beep, beep. Your world. And ours. Oh, good morning. Look up in the sky. What is that? Are connected. And they're dying. Eek! Ah! I can't do sound effects. Just imagine some like sick thunder noises here. They're raining from the sky. There's some good blob monsters. Brrr. At this rate, all life may cease to exist. Hurry, we have to get to Grandpa's bunker. Papa, I'm scared. Oof. Stella! We might have figured out a way to stop it, but we'll need your help. Please, if anyone is out there, Huh? Will you listen to our story? You're amazing. Thank you. This is the story. Don't mention it. Of them. And that is the first chapter. Yeah, I think there's like some like little fancy like end splash page, but as is custom to Webtoon, if you guys don't have Webtoon, I highly recommend it for like online comic books. It's a really easy to use app. And there's a lot of really great stories on there right now of all kinds of different genres. So whatever you are interested in, there's probably something for you. So I'm going to be publishing this. Hopefully, my goal is like by September, maybe. At least getting started on there.
So do you want to stop there? I mean, you don't have to read the rest of it. We can show more. I mean, that was a lot of fun, though. I was showing the sound effects. I had my mic muted, but it was probably a good thing because I was cracking up. And I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing with you because I do the same thing when I read books. You know, either you make the sound effects out loud or you do them in your head. And either way, you always have to laugh at yourself when you do it. I mean,
I'm not like a sound tech guy that I have like my array of instruments over here, like
lightning raining down from the sky. So yeah, if you want to show the rest of it, or if you want to leave it as a teaser, I kind of wanted to stop there because that was the first chapter.
Yeah, no, definitely leaving it as a teaser because y'all got to read the rest.
Yeah. It is good. You know, I have read the rest of what is published to me and a few other people. This isn't like fully published online yet. This was just kind of like a teaser to say, hey, you know, I'm working on my project. And so I shared, you know, the first 3 chapters of my project with you just because, you know, it's nice to get another set of eyes on it. And originally we had a problem with, you know, the words being hard to read. Let me get rid of this screen real quick. There we go. You know, originally we had the problem with, you know, the words being blurry. They weren't on the phone, but they were on the computer, which we fixed that now. You did. And, but yeah, no, I was excited when I opened it today because I was like, oh, I'll see that the link still works and we can share some of the project on, you know, StreamYard and actually screen share it. And then I was like scrolling down to the bottom to make sure everything had loaded before I started streaming, which of course I had to reload it anyway because I actually hit the X and locked me out while we were talking and getting everything set up and I had to reopen it all. But I scrolled down to the bottom and I had messaged you, I guess, no, it was probably this weekend. I don't know. It's been a crazy week. But I messaged you and I'm like, what? And you're like, oh, you'll find out sooner or later. I was like, 2 can play that game. What's your email? Let me send you the snippet of my book. 2 can play this game. Hey, Ed, what's going on? We were just talking about you a little bit ago.
Ed.
So Ed is also one of the original artists that I brought into CBN Art Exposure whenever, you know, I went live with you. And so, you know, hopefully we're in talks right now of doing Ed's first show pretty soon. So he has, and this is a funny story. Sorry, I don't mean to derail so much.
You're all good.
It's like, you know, how, you know, we were talking a little bit ago about how, you know, things always seem to turn out the way they were meant to be. So for like the last 15 years, I have been saying that the best Joker will be played by Willem Dafoe. I love him. He is one of the best characters. Everybody hated him. And, you know, most people hated him. Not everybody, because I didn't. When he played the Goblin in Spider-Man. And, you know, I think he always does a phenomenal job. He was great in John Wick. He's great in every movie that I've ever seen him in. And he's like one of my favorite actors. I wish I could meet him in real life. And so, you know, I've been talking to Ed for like 2 years. I'm like, come on, let's go live. Let's go live. Let's go live. So we went live with the show when I first started doing the show, and we started talking about, everybody's like, hey, you really do need to go live with your drawing. So a couple weeks goes by, and I get a message from him. He's like, I think this is going to be the cover that I ink live. And here's this Willem Dafoe as the Joker in penciled out on there. And I've never told Ed that I always wanted Willem Dafoe. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, by the way, it's already sold. You're not allowed to sell that to anybody else. So it's really cool how things, come together like that. Cause like I was like blown away. I'm like, that is the funniest thing in the world. I'm like, I've been yelling from the mountaintops, Willem Dafoe needs to play the Joker. He is a phenomenal actor. He'd do a great job with it. And so, we will be setting something up pretty soon, hopefully in the next month. He's going out of town this weekend. They're going on a family trip, so this weekend's out. And I got a bunch of shows to do anyway. But I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, yeah, no, the world works in mysterious ways, so that's great.
Yeah. I wish I could upload it on here without, you know what, I probably can. I'll have to upload that picture and show you. It's phenomenal. I saved it and posted it all over Facebook, but it's beautiful. So what other projects and stuff have you been working on? Anything else recently other than like doing the drawings on Twitch and TikTok?
I have been the commission that I'm doing right now is actually a painting, which I don't paint very often, so it's kind of like wild, but it's for a friend of mine from high school that he wanted a painting of a peacock and a pheasant. And it's pretty big, so I don't know if I would be able to like put it all in frame. If I can detach myself for a second.
Here, I'll give you the full screen so everybody can see it.
I can't hear anything. Say that again?
I gave you the full screen so everybody can see it.
Oh, yeah. No, this is my current project that I'm working on. So it's interesting getting to paint because I haven't painted it since like high school or so, but my friend was very confident in my abilities, so
well, see, that's how Ed, he started out, wanting to get into comics, and Ed went and started painting. And then he went to a Comic-Con, several years ago and started talking to an artist, and that's what brought him back into comic books. So it's kind of, the same story as you. You wanted to start out here, and then you went into writing and then made a full circle back right where you were at the beginning. And that's kind of, what he did and what I did. And, it's really funny how these stories end up playing out. So yeah. What is that, an oil painting or is that watercolor?
Oh, it's actually acrylic. What's funny is that originally he had wanted an oil painting, but he had never commissioned a painting before, and I was like, oh, that's going to be a lot of money because oil painting is very expensive.
Yeah.
And so I was like, here, let's do acrylic. I'll put some like glossy finish over it, make it look like an oil painting, but it's going to be the cheap version. I got you. So it's acrylic paint, which I'm a little better in. I've only done oil painting like once, and it was like a little trial like test square that we did in art class once. So I'm a lot more comfortable doing acrylic too.
And I apologize if I'm looking down a lot. I'm uploading pictures to StreamYard so I can put them on screen. I'm actually loading Eve's cover up too, so I can show you Eve's cover real quick. As I'm accidentally selecting a bunch of pictures because I'm not paying attention. I look down, there's like 9 pictures selected.
Yeah, let's just like go through your whole phone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if we want to do that. There's some spoilers. You know what? We can have a spoiler. For the people that are watching tonight, we can have a spoiler. I will show off the piece that is in the mail pre-finished.
Ooh.
So you're not going to get to see the finished piece, but you're going to see the preliminaries. I do know one thing. I take way too many pictures. So I'm like, oh, I got this picture like a week ago. I'm like, yeah, I still haven't found it yet, so I'm about to give up on it.
Oh.
So are you still taking commissions if people are looking into commissions? I don't mean to like throw you under the bus here. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, get her a commissioner to do a piece for you. Cause I mean, that was what I did. I'm just like out of nowhere back in what was it, February, I
I
guess. It
think
was the end
so,
of
something like
February,
that.
beginning of March. I'm like, hey, what's up? And you're like, not much. What are you doing? I haven't heard from you in a while. I'm like, you ever do a piece for my book? And you're like,
Yeah,
yeah.
bring it on. Honestly, I'm open to commissions. Uh, it gets me doing more art stuff, which I mean, I'm always a big fan of. I'm a little slow when it comes to commissions. You, I'm sure, know that.
Well,
But
and here's the thing: you work a full time job. Ed works a full time job. I work a full time job. We as creators, you know, it goes back to what we said earlier. You didn't want to get into art because you didn't want to do the whole starving artist thing. And I didn't want to get into writing because of the same reason. It's hard to make a living on that. So we ended up going out and getting real jobs, quotation, because writing and art is a real job, but some people it's not. And I mean, I don't want to like sound ignorant saying a real job, like a regular job, a
yeah, no, I
normal
get you.
9 to 5. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah.
And so, we work regular jobs, and we try to do this stuff on the side, trying to dip our feet in the pond, and hopefully, after a while we can jump in and get rid of, this 9 to 5 on the side. But that's got to be understandable. I mean, when people commission a piece, you can't just be like, well, I need this in 7 days and it has to be finished. I need it in my hand by day 8, and it's like I've this whole time I've had like a November kickstart date, and that's why I messaged you back in February. I've been trying to get all the art done and lined up that way, because artists have other projects to work on. And so you can't just be like, oh, well, I'm finished writing the books. Now I'm going to get the art together. So I messaged everybody that I wanted to be in it right off the bat. That way I had my list of all the people that said yes. And then I slowly worked my way down as I could afford it. All right, get this piece done, get this piece done, get this piece done. And, Ed's been working on it for a while. You took a little bit of time, and it's understandable. And good art takes time too. So you can't expect somebody to try to extrapolate your idea and put it on paper in a week. You got to sit on it. You got to think. You got to, see from your angle where you want to go with the character and the way that you want things to be laid out on there. Or it just, it doesn't get that full amount of attention that it does. So, I mean, I'm, perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm always taking commissions. I'm a little slow, but like life happens, so please understand. That's all I can ask. I mean, I can like expedite things if I really have to, but I value quality over speed. So I will definitely work with people to try and get exactly what they want. Like, I'll ask way too many questions, probably. Like, do you want it at this specific angle with this, or would you like this? Or so. If you want a commission, let me know. I've got, if you guys, I'm going to shamelessly plug for a second. But if you want to follow my page, Vinny the Great Art, I should have my commission prices listed somewhere in there. And if it's out of that like specific range, then we could definitely work with something. I'm pretty flexible. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I will post your link and I will share it out after the show. I meant to add that on here. I got so many fires going at the same time. But yeah, definitely give her page a look and check it out, and check out the commission prices and stuff. They're fair, they're really reasonable, and you do a great job on them. Like I said, there were people in here that didn't. What did I do with it? They didn't see this earlier, so there we go with the bag again. I should have just taken it out to begin with.
You're all good.
All right, so here's one of the pieces. Ed now. And Winry.
Yep, I'm a big anime nerd, so like name an anime and I'll go off about it probably if I've seen it.
Yeah, and that's one of the pictures that I uploaded too was Eve's Acura too. So whenever I get a second here and I load them up here, we can talk about it. Oh, I'm missing comments. What do we say here? I work well with stick figures. And why do you always have to bring that up? To pay the bills. Yeah, Simeon. And yeah, everybody agrees, yeah, you got to work a full-time job to pay the bills. And, and that Eve's full-time in school and part-time job, and she's doing the art. And so Eve, you've only got a couple of weeks left, don't you? You said you were out of school, I think the end of like the 28th of July or something, or 29th, I think. Yes, I remember stupid stuff like that. I may not remember what I need to do, but I remember when somebody else tells me a date about something. So if I skip out for a second, don't mind me. I'm uploading pictures into StreamYard so I can show you guys.
I'll take over the show. It's my show now.
Hey, that's cool with me. Take over. Have fun.
Oh, boy.
Talk about...
But yeah,
come on. You were supposed to take over the show, and now you're like crapping out on me?
Listen, don't put me on the spot. But even though I kind of put myself on the spot, I do these things to myself. And that's the problem.
Hey, I didn't say anything. So here's that piece. I don't know how well to show it because it's yeah, see, you can kind of make it out.
Yeah, no, I can see it.
My brightness is way too high on here. So it's like white on mine. But yeah, there's the Willem Dafoe, and it looks phenomenal. I mean, like as soon as I seen it, I'm like, that's Willem Dafoe as the Joker. I'm like, oh my God. So yeah, I had like a fangirl moment. I was like, woo, it's mine.
Wow,
I'm like, if it's
so
for sale,
good.
I'm like, I already claimed it. He didn't even say he was gonna sell it. I'm like, it's mine. I want it. You can't sell it. I'm like, if it's for sale.
That's awesome. Oh, that looks so good. See, I can't do like comic book style, like the like more realistic looking comic book style is something that like I've tried to do, but like all my stuff looks more cutesy. Like I'm really thankful that I did your the piece for the Zenonite books because it kind of pushed me out of that comfort zone because like it's a lot more like hardcore, I guess, in genre than what I'm used to. So like I admire when people can like do that kind of stuff. It's so cool to me. Cause like I can't. I mean, I'm gonna try, but like I'm not there yet.
Yeah, no, and it, and that was, I knew that going into it. I was like, because we did this one,
Mm-hmm.
and we did Winry, and I, after watching some of your Twitch streams and seeing do these simple, basic, character drawings, which there's nothing wrong with that, but I'm like, I really want to see what your full potential is, and I'm like. So I'm like naming off all the stuff. You're like, you want a spaceship in the background, and you want other people in the background, and explosions, and I'm like going on and on. I'm like writing a whole book just for what I wanted on this piece, and we'll break it out again because Simeon and some of the other people haven't seen it yet. I mean, they may have seen it on Facebook, but just the amount of detail that went into it, just like these. Hold on, let me figure out the camera. It's backwards. Just the amount of detail that went into the wiring up here. And, the little stars specks in the background, the sparks, it turned out phenomenal. And, of course, you've got the mystery person in the spaceship shooting at somebody. We don't know who yet. And, I love the little detail pieces. Hold on. Yeah, we're messing with the camera again. The little detail pieces, the scuffs that went into the armor, because it's a battle scene, and you've got scuffs, you've got blood spatter from, some of the other soldiers he's been fighting through. And you've got the blood spatter on the gloves and you got little, oh, hold on. Backwards. And you got the little puff of smoke here. I mean, it just turned out phenomenal. The way that you layered it, it turned out great. But yeah, I kept going on and on. I'm like, message, and then you're like, okay, he's done. And then you seen the little bubbles. like, oh my god!
All right, here we go.
Yeah, here we go. Chapter 8 through 15 is getting sent over, and I got to do it all in one piece. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I mean, like, I'm really thankful for it because, like, I don't do like stuff so in depth all the time. Like, I probably spent way more time on that than I've spent on most of the things that I've done, just because like my style is a lot more simplistic. But it did really get me prepped for doing the comic too, because like especially in like later chapters, there's more detailed backgrounds and stuff like that, which those are like some major weak points of mine because I'm like, oh, I love drawing people. Let me just constantly draw people, give them a bubble in the background, and that's it. So no, I'm like, it really helped me out. So I appreciate that. It got me prepped. So hopefully we get some good backgrounds in Begonia because oh.
Well, and I really appreciate you doing the piece too. I mean, it was an honor having you do a piece for it. And so while we're waiting for these last few files to upload, here's a fun piece that I drew. And I don't claim to be an artist by any means. Hold on, it's loading. I'm adding Eve's cover up there now. If this will go out of my way. Thank you. So here's a fun piece. Here, hold on. Let me go full screen so everybody can see it. I mean, I'm not an artist by any means, but I've been having fun with it, you know, just making stuff for people. And so this is my joke for Ed. I told him that Steph and I were going to get a white van and we were going to show up at his studio with the roll of duct tape and we were going to abduct him if he didn't go live soon. So I drew this for Ed. I'm going to get it sent out to him before too long. You know, and then Steph's not here to defend himself, so I have to show. Well, wait, hold on. I kind of am proud of this. I mean, for my first Spider-Man ever drawn, I think he turned out pretty good.
Hey, that is a solid Spider-Man.
And so this is for my buddy Radar, who's been super supportive of me. So the whole joke behind, hold on, there we go. The whole joke behind this is one night on Steph's show, he does a segment, You Can Draw. And so we drew Deadpool. And so I changed the eyes from the diamond shape to circles because Steph, you know, we give him trouble about his circle templates. So I created Stephpool instead of Deadpool. And so every week I've started Stephpool Comics where I draw a part of it. And so I, you know, this piece was made for Radar Riley because his favorite character is Spider-Man. And you know why? I'm not trying to be an artist, but, you know, it inspired me watching you guys draw to say, you know, I mean, I have talent, but these pieces will be a lot of fun. So I gave Steph a ton of trouble because everybody's been hounding Steph, especially Luis. That Luis Torres guy has been just trying to get a shirtless cosplay cover of Steph as a joke. And so I'm like, you know what? We finally have the first ever Steph cosplay cover for Naughty Fairy Stripper Assassin, number 5.
Nice.
So I had a lot of fun doing that. I mean, and you know, it wasn't that expensive. I went out and bought I bought one of these Strathmore pads, you know, and I'm like, you know, I bought a cheap colored pencil set, and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna have fun. And it has been a lot of fun. You know, when I get to a point in writing that I'm stuck and I'm hung up and I'm like, all right, I don't really know where I want to take this part of the book. I'll break that out and I'm like, all right, let's do a creative drawing. What can I do that's really funny to make fun of somebody and give them a bunch of crap and then send it to them? And so it's been a lot of fun. So now that it's loaded in here, this is Eve's cover for Lily the Demoness.
Wow. That is gorgeous.
And of course, that's the only picture I have. I don't have the full cover, so there's more to the cover, but it turned out phenomenal. So this is Eve's very first cover. Giving a shout out to Eve on here since she's in here. So definitely check it out. And Mr. Luis Torres is in here. That's his project. Where's the other picture at? Oh, there it is. Here's the Acura. This is badass.
Oh my gosh. All the detail.
Yeah, she worked on this for like I think 3 weeks in a row on Sunday. She was working on it live. And so we watched it go from just the outline of.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, it's gonna take me a while to just like look at everything.
Yeah, no, you're
Like,
fine. I'm looking at the comments because I missed a whole bunch of them. And oh yeah, I forgot to say, she didn't do the color on there. It's I don't even. I'm not even gonna try it. Not even. Nope. All right, I'm gonna try it. Linea di Napolis.
that's a good guess. That's better than my guess.
And I'm sorry if you're watching. I butchered that. And so yeah, this Acura is freaking phenomenal. And so, this is the kind of work that you like to do with the anime, doing some of these anime styled pieces. And it's like when I seen Eve's work, I'm like, you guys would totally click with all of this stuff.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's amazing.
Yeah, and
Oh,
so we watched this go from, I mean, just the detail in the background with, the brick work and all the storefronts and, just the bottle up front, or not the bottle, the beaker, everything, it was all blank. And so we watched that slowly grow into this piece, and it was just super amazing to watch. It was, hold on, I gotta.
the Akira piece gave me hell. Oh man, I could imagine. Oh, that's fantastic though. You did a great job with that. Like,
It's
I would have
awesome.
cried.
Well, it's really cool to see these pieces. I mean, you know, the artwork for the pieces that have been done, that was the other cool thing. Like I knew my posts in the book that I wanted to hit. And so each piece represented one of those posts throughout the book that I was going to fill the story in between, but eventually, inevitably, this is what was going to happen throughout. And so as you guys finish these pieces, I took inspiration from seeing the art in it to actually write out and fill in the blanks. Unless you're like Eve. Eve caused me to scrap a whole entire chapter. Well, I give her trouble about it because she's like, "What?" She's like, "I'm sorry, I don't mean to be trouble." And I was like, "No, it's so." You know what? I'll say it. This will be the only time you'll ever hear me talk about it. So there was a part of the book that. All right, it's done uploading. Sorry, I was skipping for a second. So there was a part of the book that I had wrote, and it's up until what you're going to read. I'm not going to go into super explicit detail about it, but I'll kind of give you a roundabout idea of what happened. So where your book, the section that you have leaves off, I had a certain amount of time had went by, and all of a sudden, like it was like boom, here goes the book. And for the people that had read it and I had talked to about it, they're like, "Oh yeah, that sounds really good." Well, then Eve was talking to me, and she's like, "Okay, what do you want to do for your piece? Do you want to do like, is there a beast somewhere in the piece? Because I really want to do something with like a beast or something." And I was like, eventually down the line, the part of the story included that. And so we won't talk about what the name of it is yet. Everybody's seen part of it because Eve drew part of it again Sunday and started painting it. So I got to thinking about it. I was like, I'll get back to you on that. Well, for some reason, I was sitting there thinking about the story, and I was like, this is the dumbest thing ever. How did nobody not see this huge plot hole that existed? Because Xenonanite Titan's got this badass suit, and how does somebody with a badass suit get lost in space when you're like in our galaxy floating in space after this thing happens? I'm like, this makes absolutely no sense. And so my wife's like, why are you changing the story? I really liked it. And I told her, later on, I'll tell the story in full detail. So, but I just don't want to ruin parts of the book. But I told her, and she's like, how did I not notice that either? I'm like, nobody noticed. I'm like, that's the problem. I don't know if anybody would ever notice it, but somewhere there would have been that one person that would have been like, nope, this is stupid. And then it would told everybody, and everybody would be like, yeah, you're right, that is stupid. How did none of us notice that loophole in the book? So, it's just funny. So here we go. You guys want to see a teaser for the next piece that will be unveiled? This is the final piece of art, Finn, for the book.
Yeah. All
The
right.
final piece. And this is what follows your piece. So you will be the only person besides the artist that knows what this piece means. So here you go.
Oh no. Oh, that looks so good though. Not oh no, like the art. The art's beautiful. Like I get it. Oh. Oh, that's gorgeous.
So yeah, this is the piece that was done by CB Zane. He did show it off on the live show last Monday, so there were a few people that got to see the finished piece because everybody hounded me and begged and said, "Please let us see it." So I was like, "Fine, you know what? It's a bonus for anybody that likes, comes in here to watch the live art and supports you as an artist. They deserve to get to see it." So I was like, "Go ahead and show it." But I told him I had to kick Lewis out first because Lewis was the one that was asking for it. You did not mess it up, Eve. It's a funny story. You actually fixed it because now you made me feel like less of a dumbass since I found my own plot hole and somebody else did. And they'll never get a chance to find it.
Edits are good. Edits will help make your story better. It's okay to go back and fix things. I've had to rewrite the beginning of Project Begonia at least 12 times.
And it's stuff that happens. And here's the funny thing that I find myself doing. I don't know if you do it in the creation of your project, but I'll get you in a second, Lewis. I seen your question. I will go back and I will change something. Sorry, I had to think for a second what I was trying to say. I will go back and change something, and I go through and edit it, and then I'll go all the way back through to where I'm at on the final draft. And then I'll get like another chapter in, and then I'll go back and change what I just changed back to the way it was before because I liked it better.
I've done it. In that first, what's funny is that as I've been drawing these chapters for Begonia, I had a break between chapter 1 and then chapter 2 where I stopped for a month or two because I was just like, oh, this looks dumb. I had just a self-doubt moment. But in that month or so, I had changed some character designs. And so I had to go back and redo the whole thing because I had to go and make the character designs consistent. And it was just such a pain in the butt. Because editing is one thing, redrawing and having to sift through layers is another. So I feel you. I feel it.
And it's hard. It's hard to, because when you read it the first time, and then you're like, wait, this sounds really good, and then you go back through and you're like, it doesn't really work, and you change it, and then you go back and reread it, and you're like, no, it worked better the first time, and then you change it back, and it just happens a whole lot. I've found myself doing it at least 20 plus times throughout the writing of this book. And then I've even went back and changed it back to the way it was originally was, and then gone back and changed it back to the way I had changed it to because it did end up sounding better that way. It's creative writing is a fun process that never works right. And that's the biggest hurdle that we have to overcome is just saying, okay, it's good the way it is. If I keep doing this forever, it's never going to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yep. That happens to all of us.
Lewis, I have no idea. I don't know. I've been tossed around a few ideas, so I don't want to go off on a whole huge tangent about it. But this is going to be book 1 of 3, as it's planned right now. Unless somebody picks it up and says, "Let's do the next book and start the comic book series," because basically book 1 is an origin story. So that may be what the title of the book is: "An Nanite Titan, an origin story." I may come up with something a little better. There are a few ideas in play, but I like the idea of doing it as an origin story because if I do end up switching gears and turning this into a comic book series, then that book can be fine as a standalone. I won't, instead of calling it part one and then there never being a part two. I mean, that would be kind of dumb. So I don't know yet. Right for right now, we'll just tease it out there, and it's Xeno Nanite Titan book one, and we'll leave it at that.
Naming things is hard.
Well, it is hard. It's hard, especially when you're, like with you doing your project. It's it's as a webtoon. You're going to stick with that platform. My original goal with creating Xeno Nanite Titan was to create a comic book character, and I have been in the comic book scene for a while. With reading and chatting with artists and creators and stuff for a long time, and I quit for quite a long time. And then, 3 years ago, I jumped back into it again. And it was probably about 8 months before, I started art exposure because I was like, I want to get back into doing this. And I don't really know a whole lot about, doing comic books and all the work that goes into it, but I want to learn and I want to turn this into one eventually. And so I haven't been shy about putting it out there. If there's somebody that says, hey, let's do this, and learning the ropes and messing up along the way, but creating ultimately down the road an awesome comic book series with a badass character. And Xeno Nanite Titan has an awesome story that needs to be told. And so when I thought about writing the novel, I was like, the best way to do it would be, let's do the origin story for the character. How does he acquire the suit? How does he acquire this? And why was the suit created? You go into a lot of these comic book series or some of these webtoons, and they throw you in, and then so like later on people are asking all these questions, so the creators go back and make a number 0 after the fact and do like an origin story. And I kind of wanted to do the opposite of that and say, okay, here's a character, here's how his life played out to get to where he is by the time we do the comic book series. And I thought it was kind of I'm not saying I'm a pioneer and I'm the first one doing it, but it's kind of a cool way because you get a feeling for the character and the things that's happened to them that lead up to the point of them becoming a superhero or becoming the hero or, becoming the villain. Because who says Xeno Nanite Titan is necessarily a hero? And so, yeah, let that sink in. No, I'm just kidding.
Ooh, the plot twists.
Yeah, plot twists. Lots of plot twists. And book one's been a lot of fun. And, with reading your project, it's been really fun too, because, there's Easter eggs in my book, in the snippets, Eve got to read a part that nobody else has got to read, but it was significant to her piece for her to visualize how the piece I wanted it to be done. And the same thing with CB Zane, he got to know the ending of the book.
Mm-hmm.
But he doesn't know the beginning. And Wendy knows the beginning, but Eve doesn't know the beginning. Eve knows the middle. And so each artist has, like with David Fought when he did the piece with the Xeno Nanite Titan with the leg, he started out as a robot leg. And so sorry, I was reading Ned's comment. And so it was really cool because, I gave you guys free reign. I didn't say, hey, change this. I didn't say, edits. Eve talked about that briefly on our panel a few weeks ago. And I wanted you guys to do the piece the way you wanted to do it. My whole thing was, I know what my character looks like, but how do you see my character based on what I'm describing to you? And am I doing a good job? And it kind of helped me to realize, I am describing things in enough detail that you guys are putting it on paper. And so it makes me feel more confident as a writer that I'm able to paint a picture for the reader. And, you did a great job in the storyline of yours. And but yours has the pictures to go along with it. But I like the sound effects. That was a really cool addition. I've read a lot of webtoons that you go through and there's dialogue and there's narrative, but maybe once every 30 panels there'd be a sound effect. But yours is more fun because it's like, instead of scrolling through like like I did when you were reading from it and just seeing the lightning monsters. You got that crackle, boom, going on in the background, and it adds a fun element to it because in the back of your mind, you're reading that and you're doing the sound effects, and there will be people, in a library somewhere reading it going, they got their headphones on listening to music and they don't know that they're saying them out loud. And it's just, it's really funny. And so, it's a blast doing the writing scene.
Yeah, no, I mean, I've always thought that like sound effects were like a decent part, and I've seen a lot of like webtoons that leave it out. I think it's just because it's like extra work to like slap them on there, but like they're fun. They had a little bit of spice.
Yeah, for sure. It is a lot of fun, and I love making sound effects. I always make sound effects. It annoys the hell out of my wife, but my kids think it's really cool. When my son was a baby, I used to walk at him like I was a robot. And I was like, and he would just, and this is honest to God story. That was the only way we could get him to smile for Christmas pictures. And I would go, and he would just, if you seen his baby picture and just the pure joy and the smile on his face, and it's like, so, that's always been his favorite thing is when I make sound effects. And so now he tries to do it too. I got the little mini me running around. Yeah, definitely, Ed. I'll definitely talk to you about that. So I read at the bottom. I don't want to like throw out any spoilers. So you had said that the Project Begonia you were thinking about releasing sometime in September.
Yes, that is my goal.
And it's going to be every Friday release for the new panels.
I believe so. Yes, if I can give myself enough of a like push, because I plan to have like at least 5 or so chapters done before I actually start putting them out, so that like that way I'll have like a little buffer.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. So you'll release 1, and then you'll start working on 7, and then release 2, and by the time 2 comes out, you'll have 7 done, and then you'll release 3 and be on 8, and just slowly put them out. That way you have enough time in case you don't have time to pump out another chapter by the next Friday.
Right.
It makes perfect sense. I mean, that's a great approach to take at it. That's thinking proactively.
Yeah, no, I've done a lot of research on how to manage doing a like webtoon or like an online kind of story. And I've seen a lot of people already have like stuff way in advance, or like there's some people that go so hard as to like make the whole thing before they start putting it out. So, which my story, I don't think I'd be able to do that because I plan to keep it going for a hot minute. So I have a lot of characters to go through and a lot of different points of the story that I'd like to get into. So I don't think I'd be able to do the whole thing and like release it anytime soon. So yeah, so hopefully by September I'll have like enough of a comfortable buffer that I can start putting it out and that everybody can enjoy it. I think I might release 1 and 2 together because 1 is a little more of like a prologue-y kind of chapter. So
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that'd be good. And the only reason I knew about the Friday thing is because I seen that at the bottom whenever I scrolled through, because you had added the links at the bottom and you had added a little bit more of like the more design that it would be if it was actually published instead of just like an outline.
Yeah, I wanted to add like that little like end, I don't know what it's called, but like that little end panel at the bottom, just because like I'll like have it at the end of every single chapter, and I wanted to see what it would all look like all put together. Because the way that I have it is that all of my pages are like individual like blocks, basically. So when I look at it on my tablet, whatever I use to draw with, I don't see the whole thing put together until I throw it into the Google Docs. So I wanted to see it, and I was like, oh no, that looks professional. I did it.
So what other projects do you have anything else that you're planning on doing besides the webtoon? Or
I do want to start up a YouTube channel, just because unfortunately with all the garbage going on right now, there's like talk of like TikTok getting pulled. Yeah. So I do want to hop onto YouTube, which I do have a video that I've started working on, which is actually a recording of the Ed and Alphonse drawing. I sat
Oh,
and
you did?
I
You
recorded the
recorded that?
whole I recorded the whole coloring process of it because I wanted to see it for myself, but also I would have loved to use it for like I don't know, like putting it on and telling like a fun like story time or something while like you get to see like this thing being kind of speed painted out. So hoping to get YouTube up and going. I don't know. YouTube is a little harder than a live stream, surprisingly, just because you're talking to yourself instead of like talking to people.
Yeah.
So I feel a little more awkward like recording and be like, hey guys, welcome to my video. Like, I don't know. I feel a little hokey, but like I think that's just something I've got to get over before I start like putting out videos. I have one whole speed paint video on there from forever ago, but it's cringy.
Well, and that's something that you can do is you can use StreamYard and you can actually go live and you know, like screen share your speed paint and
Mm-hmm.
like and it'll be like we were earlier where you'll have us on the side and then it'll have the picture with you know your speed paint going on it and you can stream from StreamYard straight to YouTube and then once it's done it auto uploads itself to YouTube so it won't be available like for like a couple of hours depending on how long it is like this one probably won't be on there until tomorrow but
Right.
I didn't know it uploaded itself, so I spent like 2 hours up the one night uploading like it was like 7 or 8 gigs from the StreamYard video because it was like 2.5 hours long. And I'm like, oh man. So I stayed up to like 1 o'clock in the morning. And then the next morning I went to put it on YouTube and it was already on there. I was like, what? It auto uploaded? It didn't show it was uploading and it didn't show that we even had the live video. Because like right now it's live on YouTube. But once we shut it down, it disappears off of there. So I just like,
Right.
oh, I have to upload it. Yeah, no. I went through all that work for nothing. So what happens?
Oh, I feel it. I feel it. Cause with speed paints, I think the my total like footage that I have right now is like somewhere between like 3 to 5 hours or so, and I have to try and like squeeze it down into like 10 minutes. So it's been a process having to upload the videos into like Sony Vegas and having to like try and like cut them down, get some audio going, which I've recorded something, but I might re-record it just because it's awkward.
Man,
It's
I
just
really
like a
want to
high
see the
school
speed
story,
paint of
but
that and Alphonse. That's
yeah,
all. And
yeah, no, I figured you'd like it.
for those of you that I don't know, there's been like a couple of more people come in. So for those of you that haven't seen Ed and Alphonse, here they are. I always have to show it off.
I'm very proud of that one.
Yeah, it was so funny because whenever I commissioned it, you were like, I have a question. Would you mind if I like scan this and made prints of it? Because I'm like super proud of how it turned out, and I'm like, I don't mind. I'm like, 'cause everybody, somebody somewhere is gonna have a print of this and be like, I wonder where the original is for this. It's right
That guy has it. Oh man, there we go.
here. Mine, yeah. See how it is about being backwards. It's not. Yeah,
Yeah,
everybody laughs at me.
that
It's so
guy's got
hard,
it.
but yeah, it's not going anywhere. So no, I'm just kidding. But I really appreciate you coming on tonight. It was fun to get to talk about your project. I really hope that people that are watching check it out. And not only that, but there'll be quite a few people that'll catch up on it tomorrow with the rewatch. I find that there's a ton of people that have been going back and rewatching them, which is super awesome. I really appreciate everybody that takes the time to sit down and chat with us and comment and ask questions. You know, because this is what being indie is all about, us supporting each other. You know, a couple of years ago, I'm like, Finn, let's get you out there, and now you're a TikTok superstar. You know, and then I here I am 2 years later. I come crawling back and I say, Finn, will you do this piece for me for my book, please? And you're like, heck yeah, let's do it. So it's gonna be really cool. And that was part of the reason why I wanted to do it and get you involved and get Ed involved is because, you know, you guys are part of more or less the comic book scene, to whereas I'm jumping in on the book scene of it. So everybody that's involved in my project is 90% of you guys are going into this format for the first time. So people that read novels are going to be seeing these pictures as opposed to people who read comic books. But I mean, in a way, this is eventually going to be a comic book. So I don't really even really know what to label it. But I really appreciate you taking the time. I really appreciate, you saying yes 2 years ago, because you were the very first person that I was able to get to finally say yes and come on the show. And you were scared as hell. And so was I, because I'm like, I don't want to make an ass of myself asking this person to come on and then people treat them like crap. I was like, I'm not having it. And so, but we, it was a great time. It was a lot of fun. And I'm like, I really like this. And so I kept branching out. I'm like, let's bring more people in, get in here, show us your art, because it is a really cool platform for you guys to get your art out there. I mean, this was all before COVID happened, and everybody said no, 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 and now everybody's like, "Will you have me on your show?" So it's really funny how things have changed. It's like almost like hindsight 2020. Eventually this was going to end up having to be a platform. So it was really cool to have you on. Thank you so much for doing a piece. I will share out your page later. Definitely keep us informed on how Project Begonia is going. If there's anything else you'd like to say in closing or anything else you wanted to talk about that we missed, I don't want to keep you up all night.
No, I mean, just thank you for having me on the show. I'm really honored to be able to have a platform now. It's so awesome. If I could tell my little kid self that I was going to be in this spot today, that my little kid self will be like, "The hell's wrong with you?" So this is amazing, and I never thought I would get here. So thank you. You and the Art Exposure people, y'all really started me off. So I really owe you guys. So thank you for having me around and liking my art.
You're very welcome. And it's worth it, getting to see you guys be able to put your stuff out there. So, well, we look forward to seeing what you have. If you want to stick around for a minute, we can chat in the green room. So, thanks a lot for being on. Have a great night.
All right, bye everybody.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks for rewatching if you're going back and watching this. It was a awesome night. It was really great to bring back an old friend from a few years ago. It was awesome to see how far they've grown. Hint, hint, Ed, get your stuff out there and get it on live if you're still here. Oh, yeah, you are still here. Better do that live show. But anyway, so this is what being indie is all about, and it really touches me to know that I inspired somebody to take a step, and I hope that this inspires somebody that's going back and watching this to take that step. Add anyone else that's coming out as a new artist or as a artist that's been doing this for a while, and you're afraid to put your work out there. Just take the step. Not all of us are going to be 40,000 subscriber TikTok famous, and not all of us are going to be YouTube famous. Not all of us are going to be Facebook famous, but everybody will have a following. Everybody will have that clique that follows them, and you'll really touch those people with your art and with your writing. So take that step, get it out there, and see what people have to say. And if you have a great community, those people will lift you up and they will help you to make your stuff better. So I'm going to end on that tonight, guys. Thanks so much for being here, and help support one another. That's what it's all about. Have a great night.